It's Black History Month.
Look how giddy we're getting over it. Fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm Ellie. I've just qualified as a dietitian.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
Hi, I'm Ellouise and I'm a diabetes specialist dietitian. I work in primary care.
So we're going to answer some questions around Black History Month and what it means to us and what it means for dietetics as a whole.
And what does Black History mean to you as a dietitian?
Black History Month to me as a dietitian means being able to celebrate my culture and my heritage with people around me, friends, colleagues, and also my patients, and getting to see the enjoyment and the excitement that brings to them.
I like that, yeah. So for me, it's an interesting question because Black history as a whole is a great opportunity to just, enlighten yourself of the history of Black people. But as a dietitian, I feel really fortunate to be in a position where I can, be supporting patients from all nationalities. But then when I do have a patient that is from a Black heritage, it's a beautiful opportunity to just exchange my knowledge and also understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, just having that little bit extra touch.
Yeah, definitely. And they appreciate it, I find.
I think even over August when it was Carnival,
I
had a patient wanted to be discharged and we knew why. It was Carnival, it was August bank holiday. He's like, I need to be out for bank holiday. No one did this. I was like, I know why you need to be out for bank holiday.
Fantastic. The theme this year is time for change. Time for change.
Actions, not words.
And what's the next step? Would you like to see as a result of this month? Ooh.
That's a tough question.
That's a layered question, isn't it?
It is.
That is a layered question. But I think time for change and action, not words, is really good. Really, really good. Because there is an element of, we do this for Black history, and then November comes and you go back to your everyday life. I always say that this month is an opportunity to ask some of those questions as well, because you've got that backing of the fact that it's Black History Month. So you may have had a patient from Black heritage and you think, I have not got a clue what they're talking about. And you've Googled it maybe, and you try to do some additional CPD, but having the conversation with someone from that heritage is a great opportunity to really get down to the nitty gritty of, what something is, why is a yam and how do you eat it?
Yeah, and just understanding in general what Black History Month is, or what happened during, periods in time in the history. But it's about not just talking about it. I want to see, let's see where it goes, let's see how it progresses.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as dietitians, like, bring it back to the dietetic element of it, I think that having something going forward, or having that conversation, having that conversation going forward outside of Black History Month will continue to really help the clinician and help the patient as well. So I think that that's something that we should be looking at. Yes, Black History might be the month where we, celebrate things, but it sort of sets the stone for the rest of the months going forward.
I'm feeling like you can ask those questions to the people that understand a little bit better than you. Yeah. So like the clinicians that are Black, can you ask them? Do you feel comfortable enough to ask them? I think you should ask them. Don't try and second guess what a food is. Don't try and second guess how you cooked it or how it's cooked. Just ask those questions, be open.
Yeah,
be open and honest.
I agree. No, that's a great one, that is really.
What can people do to celebrate Black History Month?
Why did dancing come to mind? That's terrible.
We like to dance. We love music. We love culture.
No, what can people do to celebrate Black History Month? I think we did touch on it just a minute ago in regards to asking those questions. I think that's, the biggest thing. Ask those questions. So I normally say, like, if you've got a patient and, for example, you see their name written on a piece of paper, you think, oh, I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. Ask them. Yeah. Ask them, how do you, be interested. How do you pronounce your name? And, it will really set the tone for that consultation. I think that would be really helpful. But then, resources as well. It could be an opportunity to really have a look at your department resources, see if they need updating, and just, spend that time to bring them up to date and have some really practical, remember we were just having that discussion, wasn't we, about jerk chicken, you know, have practical tips. So what Ellie was saying to me was, you know, imagine having jerk chicken with just chicken breast, and we were laughing because it's not really the done thing, is it? You know, it's normally a thigh. Or a leg or a wing. And if someone was to say why, actually, I couldn't answer that. It's just what you do.
It's just a traditional thing. I've never questioned it.
No,
I mean, I also think it's the cooking method. I think it might dry it out a little bit more than
you wouldn't get that succulent taste.
And the juice that comes
and
with it.
On the drum. We're making ourselves hungry now, aren't we?
That's what I want to eat.
And do you know what? I'm not keen on jerk chicken. So there you go. There's one. I don't do pepper, and I don't do a lot of spice.
You see, I'm the spice queen. I love spice.
Yeah.
I live for spice.
Yeah.
I need the sweat and the...
But then I say that to also say, isn't that a great example of, you know, just because someone's black doesn't mean they eat a certain way, doesn't mean they eat rice and peas, doesn't mean they eat fufu, doesn't mean they you know, they have you know, mac and cheese or any of those sort of things.
And it doesn't mean that they're going to like the multicultural menu. That is one thing I must say. They're not going to necessarily like it.
Okay. And that's from an acute setting sort of experience, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a good one. Definitely.
Don't just assume.
Don't assume. Ask the question. I think, you know, people really like it when you're open and honest, and you know,
I think sometimes they like it when you ask, so where are you from? It actually lets them, you know, not just saying that they're from the UK. They like to talk to you about where they've come from and where their heritage. And it helps you build that rapport that you wouldn't normally get.
And I know time is, you know, a lot of the time you're time poor in regards to in the health setting, but you've done it once, and you know, you might just jot it down in your notes, and you know, it's built that rapport, and you won't necessarily need to do it again next time, but that person they'll be thankful that you just took a moment, you know, maybe a minute out of your time, asking them where they're from, or how do you pronounce their name correctly, or something of that nature.
I don't think it's something, I think we do celebrate. We celebrate the fact that it is a month, and that's what we celebrate, the fact that it is a month of thinking about our history and our culture and our heritage. So I think anybody can celebrate in the same way, thinking about the culture of black people and the history. Maybe if you see an event or a talk, you know, go and listen. If there's something you've not heard before, or something you might be interested in, it doesn't just have to be in October. You could see an event happening, like we have Carnival in August. If you feel like you want to go and get involved in that, do it. Just enjoy learning about another culture.
Yes. No, that's... and it could be, it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big event, or you know, depending on the trust that you're with, or you know, the financial implications of it. It could just be that month you're going to make a concerted effort to, you know, just spend just that little bit more time learning more about black heritage, you know, and how that has an impact on someone's diet and also lifestyle, because we can't just look at the diet alone, you know, lifestyle is also important.
Or even try cooking that dish that you've heard of. Give it a go.
Yes.
Give it a try. Try those flavours, that spice mix. Give it a try.
Yeah, give it a go. No, but that's a really good one actually, because you know, even some of the spice mixes that you get in the store, as a black Caribbean woman, I don't necessarily buy all of them, because some of them are not as healthy. And what I've done is, you know, I try and use that opportunity to just explain that to some of the family members, and some of them are, you know, some of our real traditional spices, you know, but they've got ingredients that, as now I've learned as a dietitian, you know, we've all come a long way, and you know, you just sort of share that information with the rest of the people that are around you. So try a dish, share it with us, let us know what you're going to try. I like that. Fantastic. So what would you like people that are not of black heritage to know about black history? Can I hit that one off?
Yeah.
All black people are not the same.
I was thinking the same thing.
All black people are not the same. Now I say that from a standpoint of, you know, you've got the Caribbean, okay, and you've got so many different islands within the Caribbean. They all have different national dishes. They all cook things differently. And then if we go wider afield, you know, there are black people from different continents. You've got Africa. You've got you've also got the Caribbean. And lifestyle, diet, culture.
It's very different.
It's very different. Very, very different. And you know, it's important, I think, to really respect that. and make sure you kind of try and, you know, go that extra step to find out a little bit more, you know. So yeah,
I could like relate to that, because although that my family are from St Kitts and Nevis, which are swimmable in different distance, they're literally 2 swimmable islands, the food difference is very different. We cook differently, the dishes taste differently. I can eat at my dad's side the same dish that I can eat at my mum's side, and it will not taste the same. So it's just being aware that just because we have the same colouring, we're not the same. We're very different.
Exactly.
Very different.
So there's a dish where you use flour, water, a bit of salt, and you knead it, and then you fry it. Yeah. So
what is it called?
I'm Jamaican heritage, so I would call that fried dumpling. What do you call that?
I'd call it a Johnny cake.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. And they're very different. They can be different in shape.
Yeah, different in shape, and also ingredients. Some people put sugar in them and call it a festival and things like that. But as much as we're sort of just like passing over that conversation, that is a big talking point. You know, when you've got Jamaicans and people from St Kitts, they come together.
And every island cooks better. every island cooks better.
And it's the same as Africans, isn't it? You know, in regards to like jollof rice, who makes it better, and you know, which island makes it better. I mean, which country makes it better. So fab.
So reports suggest that there's only 4% of dietitians are black. How could we encourage people of black heritage to go into dietetics?
So, I mean, I would say just getting dietetics out there to the wider field, letting people know what a dietitian does, full stop. Because I was introduced to dietetics from a renal nurse, actually, who knew that I, you know, was interested in sports and nutrition, and she said, you know, I think you'd be really good at this. Before that point, I didn't know anything about a dietitian. So, you know, it could be just something simple as, you know, going to schools, doing workshops. I know that they have hospitality and catering at schools. It could be that we, you know, we could be guest, what do you call it? Speakers maybe. Do practical sessions at some of the schools. So I think that would be a good starting point.
Like things like food technology.
Yes.
Like learning about what I mean, I've had a dietitian from birth. So I've always known what a dietitian is, but it was never something I ever thought about doing or going into. I just thought there were these people that I saw at the hospital. So it's about kind of putting dietetics out there, not just for people of black heritage, but for everybody. But then letting people know that there are black dietitians and that we do exist, and that we're just the same as anyone else. Really.
No, I agree. I think
just saying how special and unique it is to have someone that looks a little bit like you as your practitioner, and just letting people know how great that is and how nice it is to share that.
Definitely. Now it's going off off the script. But what does it feel like for you? You said you've had a dietitian for so long. If you were to, or I don't know if you've had a dietitian that looks like you, you know, what does that mean to you? Or how does that have an impact on that consultation or the care?
It does affect my care, because I have quite a few different ailments, so I see quite a large breadth of clinicians. And sometimes it's just having that conversation, or that extra touch, that extra smile, that you know what that means without having to say that. That smile, that hi, that it's
like the nod.
It's the unspoken nod. You know what that means.
It's definitely. You know, so I mean, coming from someone who's never had a dietitian, but even just seeing another clinician, or actually no, another good example is when me as a dietitian, when someone comes into clinic and they see me, and it might be, you know, our hair's the same, and it's that moment, as you said, it's never really said, but it's that moment
of that smile, that
of calmness, of you know, and you know, I feel like they then become themselves. They become their true self, and they can sit, they can talk, and you hear the mother tongue come out, and I think that's just that comfort that they know that you're going to understand where they're coming from. And if I don't get me wrong, do you remember the question before, not all black people are the same?
No.
I'll just say, you know, you know, could you explain what this is or whatnot? But yeah, it does make a difference, and it would be lovely to have more black dietitians within the profession, and hopefully as time goes by
We'll see some more.
Yeah, we'll see some more.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone considering a career as a dietitian?
Well, I would think that the landscape has changed now. So I think, you know, you've got social media. Reach out to a dietitian. Reach out to a few dietitians, you know, and any of your burning questions, you know, definitely ask. Go to the open days, definitely, and just start doing some research behind, you know, what a dietitian does and what areas you'd like to specialise in, which I know might sound very forthcoming and a bit early. However, what you'll find is as you are studying, you can bring some of those, you know, likes from the different professions, specialities into it. So for myself, I always wanted to be a diabetes dietitian. Always. And I think that's because, you know, I saw it in family members, I saw it in church, and it was a little bit of, you know, I just have a little bit of sugar, you know, that little bit of sugar.
What is a little bit?
Yeah, and I was like, what is a little bit of sugar? And then I learned more about it. I learned how it has such an effect and it's so prevalent within our communities. And then that's where my passion really grew. So it's just having those conversations. And, you know, if you've got other people as well that you could speak to, so it could even just be nurses, because our role crosses over so much. And the more you learn, you know, about healthcare, is the better dietitian that you're going to be.
Yeah, I think I just would probably second that. There isn't anything else I'd probably say.
Yeah, so
just go for it.
Just go for it. Just go for it.
I think we both come from, dietetics wasn't our first degree.
No.
We did it after.
Yeah.
So
there you go, you know, so it's definitely a passion. And think about it like this, I mean, everybody eats, don't they? You know, everybody eats, and it's just learning more about nutrition, more about how that has an impact on the body and the health conditions. And I am probably quite biased here, but I think dietitians sit so perfectly within multidisciplinary teams.
They do.
Yeah, they really do, because, you know, we bring that jigsaw puzzle that brings it all together.
Yeah.
So biased, but so true. So who inspires you, or what inspired you?
So for me, it might sound a bit controversial because I don't have people like, I've never really looked up to celebrities in that way and like people in fame. The people that inspire me are my family. I have a really large family, and it's those people's journeys that I've been on their journey. They've been part of mine. They've brought me up. They've seen me grow. I've seen them grow. So my mum, my aunts, my cousins, my sister, all those women in my family. The men too, but mainly those women. The ones that taught me to cook. The ones that got me into food. The ones that just, you know, pushed me to do these things. My community, they're the people who inspire me and their stories. Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, how do I even second that? No, I totally agree. Ditto, definitely. I agree with all of that. My inspiration really came from, I would say, the lady who sort of suggested for me to be a dietitian after speaking to her and explaining, you know, what I enjoy. And I know she's definitely a mentor. She's a renal nurse. And actually she's a retired renal nurse now, and I would say she's definitely my mentor, you know, through university, through the ups and the downs and the challenges, because there will be some. You know, she was always there. But then I totally agree with what you're saying. I think the backbone of all of this for me as a dietitian was that I didn't see a black dietitian who looked like me, skin colour, hair, or anything of that nature. So I always used to question, you know, how do you get advice from somebody who doesn't eat the food that you eat? Which I do understand. You can do your research and, you know, you can learn about the different foods, but there's still something about, you know, getting together within the black community and having food together, you know, having a barbecue. And food is the heart of everything, you know. If you've got a christening, if you've got a wedding, any occasion, food is normally at the centre. So I would say our culture, my upbringing is definitely the backbone of it, and then coupled with someone who recommended this for me, and then, you know, my passion for diabetes as well, you know, is definitely up there.
I think it's strange because I am diabetic.
There you go.
I'm diabetic, but and not having anyone that understood how do I control my blood sugars when I'm at a family party? It's not as simple as knowing I'm going to put X, Y and Z on my plate. It doesn't work like that. And the foods in books were never the foods that I was eating. So
I think also it's that element of someone understanding what you eat and then also being able to give you the why, you know. So why are we making adjustments to your eating pattern? And the fact that, you know, I had a lady who said that, you know, she'll have roti and curry, you know, so because I understand how rotis can be made so differently, it's having that in-depth conversation about, so how do you make your roti? You know, are you using butter? Are you using this? Are you doing... And then the conversation gets broader because then she can explain exactly how she makes it, and then I can sort of give recommendations of, have you ever tried to do it like this? Have you ever tried to do it like that? Have you ever tried to make adjustments to your rice and peas? You know, coconut milk and rice and peas is just... But, you know, let's maybe try and see if we can juice it. Let's change it to something else. Things like that, that really... Practical tips. Yeah. There you go. Practical tips.
Yeah, that only... Yeah, you'd only understand if you've done that.
Yeah, cool.
Top 3 skills you need to be a successful dietitian.
So... Right, I've got mine. So, you need to be. I think you need to be a people person. You do. You need to be a people person because you do have that element of the academic side of you, which you know has helped you throughout your degree, doing your dissertation. Maybe you can do masters, non-medical scribing, and things like that. But you need to be a people person because translating that science into usable, practical information is so important.
It's almost a skill in itself.
Yeah. And that isn't something that you're necessarily taught. It's something you learn as you grow, as you mature, and also as you have relationships with people from all walks of life. You know, you bring that quality into your profession, I believe. So people person, empathy.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's really self-explanatory. Empathy, you know, and true empathy, not empathy that you switch on and you switch off. You need to be an empathetic person. And then resilience. After all of that, you know, resilience, because yes, it could be you start work at this time and you end at this time. But I don't really feel dietetics is like that. It's ever changing, ever growing. You're gonna have days where you're on your A game, you know, and then you're gonna have days where that crib sheet that you created, you're constantly referring to it.
I need that again. Where did I put that? What does that even mean?
What's the range of this blood? But yeah, you know, so resilience, and I do have another one actually, but that's not 3. So you go for it.
I can't remember that 3 now. You've got to be able to communicate, and I think communication, being a dietitian is about communication. That is your skill. That is your bread and butter. If you cannot communicate, dietetics is not for you.
In all ways as well.
You have to be able to communicate, because that's how we speak to patients, that's how we speak to each other, how we speak to other clinicians. Verbally, written communication is probably a big skill. Again, passion. You have to be passionate about what you do. Just as being a dietitian as a whole, or the area you choose to go in, you have to be passionate, because you have to get that across to a patient. You have to get your love across to them, for them to really believe in what you're saying and kind of do what you're asking them to do. You have to have that passion. If you're just reading it from a book, they're not gonna respond to you in that way.
I totally agree.
And again, I think my last one was I can't remember what my last one was. Maybe again.
Well, can I just say something about the passion? So in regards to the passion, I do remember at university them saying to us that you know, your learning's only started. So, you know, so you finished your degree, you've done your dissertation, you're like, oh gosh, and then someone says your learning's only started. You think, really? You know, I'm exhausted. But you know what? It's so true. And then the passion for being, you know, for the profession and whatever speciality that you want to be, want to go into, that's going to be the driving force of you continually learning, continually picking up those books, reading those journals. And then you just find that dietetics just intertwines with your everyday life. Your life. Which might sound a little bit off-putting, actually.
It just becomes second nature.
It does.
it's not because it's not a job anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's part of me. Dietetics
Yes.
is part of my life. It's,
I like that.
You know what I am.
Definitely.
And I don't ever turn it off. It just stays on.
Yeah. And then I think as a black dietitian, just sort of, you know, what skills do you need to be? All of the above of what we just said.
Yeah.
And yes, you might have your ups and downs. You might have patients who refuse not to see you because they're not so keen on seeing somebody from a black heritage. It has happened. I've experienced it. I don't know if you have. But, you know, that's where the resilience comes in. That's where your professionalism comes in, and your people skills, your communication. And it's not going to happen often, I wouldn't say. But it might just happen. But, you know, it's how you deal with it, how you come across, and also maybe finding yourself a mentor. You know, a mentor that can help you through your bright days and also some of the days that are not so bright. Will help you through what you do.
And that's about it.
Fantastic. Oh, this was a great chat.
No,
It was a really, really good chat. So, you know, we've just had a conversation in regards to Black History Month, and hopefully, you know, there's some nuggets that you can take away from this conversation. And if you want to get in touch with any of us, how can I get in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm Ellie_Jack.
Yes, and I'm on Instagram as well, and I'm Dietitian Ellouise.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing you and seeing some of those dishes that you've tried.
Definitely. Thanks for listening.